Good morning. Welcome to the Unitarian Church of Edmonton. We are one of two Unitarian churches here, and we offer our services and our programs in person and online. My name is Oksana Atwood. My pronouns are she, her, and I am the service leader this morning, along with several others who are helping to run this service. And to start off with, we are going to invite two people up for announcements. I will start with Alara, if you wouldn't mind coming up and sharing your announcement.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Alara. My pronouns are they, them. I'm up here to announce that this coming Friday, February 2nd, we're going to be having an in-bulk service and labyrinth walk at 7 p.m. Allie and I will be leading and facilitating that, and everybody is welcome to join us. In-bulk is the second holy day on the pagan wheel of the year. It's a fertility festival, so we're going to have some invocations and time to walk the labyrinth and reflect.
Sorry, I'm completely unplanned and unscripted, which is good news for you guys because I'm quick. My name is Brandy. My pronouns are she and her. In May, we will be hosting Canoodle and a gathering of ministers. The name escapes me, where all the ministers get together, right? Yes. Ministry days. And at the same time, while we have them all here, we are going to do Reverend Rosemary's installation. And so I am looking for a couple of people to help plan that installation service and that. So if anybody is interested, please let me know. Thanks.
Good morning. Yes, Audrey, you can make an announcement. I'm going to go first, though, okay? Okay. My name is Reverend Rosemary Morrison, and my pronouns are she, her, and it is my pleasure and honor to serve this congregation, the Unitarian Church of Edmonton. And I welcome you all here, and welcome to those online as well. I have one announcement. Tomorrow at Brewster's, anytime after 5:30, Brewster's in Unity Square, it's our monthly social gathering where we can just gather and have a chat and get to know one another in a relaxed, casual atmosphere where no one has to do the dishes. And so anytime after 5:30, I'll have some tables reserved for us to gather and at Brewster's Unity Square, anytime after 5:30, just to visit. Thanks. Audrey.
Sorry, I'm a bit late with this announcement. My name is Audrey Brooks, and I'm here to announce on behalf of the Edmonton Interfaith Center that our annual concert is here on next Sunday, February the 4th at 2 o'clock. Now, lest you might think it not to attend, we have Carrie Day, who many of you know is a wonderful folk performer, who usually is over at Westwood, but I was able to entice her to come. And if you were at the Genocide Memorial Service in December or saw it online, Megan Vandergiesen is the most amazing singer. This is a women's show. And Roya Yazmedir is Persian. She's from the Baha'i faith, and she's going to be doing jazz and pop. And Audrey, who is the other person? Oh, Mariel Adsme. If anybody heard her last year, she's from Chile. She sings in Spanish, and we've given these people each 20 minutes each because they're phenomenal. And I'm going to see if little Danilo Bodenko has got a piece to play for us. That's a little Ukrainian boy that has turned out to be quite a little performer. So at 2 o'clock, there is also an auction, and it's by $10 donation. Thank you.
Thank you all for sharing some of the news and activities coming up. a big welcome to any visitors that we have today. We welcome you to our service. We'll try to kind of guide you through what we're doing today. I wanted to let you know that we do have kind of a hands-on activity later. If you like, there are toys and activities in the quiet room that's right there, but by all means, we'd love for you to stay a part of the service. We just want you to know that there's accessibility for parents in terms of the washrooms and other spaces as well. Welcome, everybody. So the Unitarian Church of Edmonton is a liberal religious community. It's self-financed and congregationally directed, and we're a member of the Canadian Unitarian Council, or CUC. We use a lot of, shortened words. So if you see UU, that stands for Unitarian Universalist, and that's kind of how we refer to ourselves. We believe that every aspect of nature is related to every other, and we value these interrelationships in our natural world and amongst ourselves. But we also really try each Sunday to celebrate the uniqueness of each of us, our backgrounds, our cultures, faiths, and ideas. Part of our services are land acknowledgements. And I want to acknowledge that the area at which we're meeting, both in person and online, might seem like it's Treaty 6, but if there's anybody joining us from a different area, or if they have a different land acknowledgement online, we'd love for you to share that with us. This area has been home to various Indigenous and Métis settlements for centuries, and we recognize that our own neighborhood is an example of disparity, with a high number of people who are unhoused or experiencing homelessness. Let us support those who are working to address this issue and support efforts to ensure that everyone has access to safe and affordable housing. And while we recognize and acknowledge those are good first steps, Truth and Reconciliation calls us to make active changes. Because we believe in the importance of equity and justice in our community, and that's our focus next month, let us really strive over these next few Sundays to think about how we can create a more inclusive and welcoming environment for all in our community. So whether you are here in our online community or here in the sanctuary or watching this in the future, we hope you find something in the rituals, traditions, and celebrations today that you can hang on to in these kind of dark months. Today our theme is What's Love Got to Do With It? And it's part of a month-long Soul Matters theme that our services follow. And they're also augmented by online and in-person Soul Matters small groups that delve into the theme even more. As we prepare for this service, I just want to remind you to quiet your devices and to settle yourself as we open the service now with a musical prelude by Karen Mills. I'd like to ask Bernard to come up to light our chalice today. I've gotten a chance to get to know Bernard a little bit, and he was one of the first people here getting all the candles ready. So I'm going to ask him to light our candle as we do a reading by Maureen Killoran called Let Us Look First to the Response of Love. In these hard times, let us look first to the response of love. In the midst of challenges, may our chalice flame bear witness to the inherent worth and dignity of every human being. In the midst of uncertainty, may our chalice be a beacon of encouragement that our values may guide our choices. Let us look first to the response of love. Thank you, Bernard. And next we have hymn 346 called Come Sing a Song With Me. You're welcome to rise as you are willing and able, and the lyrics will be up behind me. So while you are gently sitting in your seats and settling in and getting comfy, I'm here to tell you that you're not going to be sitting for long. We do have a little activity for Time for All Ages. So this is traditionally a time where we do something that is for all ages, that's a little bit fun and playful and creative. As you came in the door today, I think you each got a piece of Lego from our wonderful, and may I say handsome, greeter. He's my husband. So is there anybody who didn't get a piece of Lego? Did anybody not get a piece? Okay, right in the back of the room there, maybe I could ask, I think Brandy's standing up already, thank you. If anybody doesn't have a piece of Lego, we have people who will helpfully hand them out to you. Now there's 4 colors for the Lego. They are red, yellow, green, and blue, and we have 4 different areas in our church. And we're gonna divide up the groups accordingly and hopefully in a way that works for everybody. We have blue over there, yellow in the back corner, we have green in that back corner, and red over here. So I'm gonna ask you to stand and to go stand in those areas, and then I'll give you the instruction. And for the people online, you'll be staying in one large group and answering the questions via chat, and they will be up on the screen as well. So blue is over here to my left. Red is over here by Andrew Mills. We have yellow in the back corner over there.
Maureen, what color are you? Where's red?
Red is right over there.
Could the red people join with Maureen in the middle, please?
Okay. If we could ask the red group to grab a seat in the middle so that we can have it accessible for everybody. If the red group could sit next to Corrine so that she can participate. Thank you. We want to, if I could get everybody's attention for just a moment. It's not easy leading activities. There's a little bit of a science to it, and what I'm trying to do is figure out a format that works well for us. But I want you to know that we are really thinking about accessibility for this. So if there is any feedback after the activity on how we can make it easier, please let me know. In your groups, there's a question, okay? And the question will be up on the board, and the question is, what do you love about this building? You'll have about 5 to 7 minutes to discuss it. I'm going to ask one person to record the answers. So in your groups, please look to see who has the most colorful socks. Whoever has the most colorful socks will be the recorder. So could I get the recorders to raise their hand so I know who is recording for us? So over in the blue group, thank you to our newcomer for taking that on. And over in the yellow group, thank you, Susan. In our green group, thank you, Alara. And in the red group, who's our recorder? Could we get a volunteer recorder for the red group, please, in the middle? If not, I will ask Alec. Thank you so much. So my question is, what do you love about this building? I'd like you to think back to when you were a newcomer, or if you're just visiting for the first time today, what are the things inside our building that have caught your attention that you think you love or you think represents love? So not necessarily what our building does, but the actual things in our building. What has made an impression on you? That's the question to answer. Just in the background here, you can listen to me if you like. I'd just like to outline some of the other areas of our building. We have our entranceway that people come through. We have various offices. We have childcare rooms and classrooms. We have the kitchen facility. We have the labyrinth. We have a number of different hallways and steps and secret rooms and a loft. And I'd like you all to consider what is an aspect that you love about our church. We have a few more minutes. We're getting some great feedback from those online. I just want to thank you for the feedback. Hearing about the acoustics and the building and the narthex, this is really helpful. Thank you to everybody in Zoom. Now, in your groups, if you feel like you've covered everybody, you can go on with this next step. If people still need a chance to share, please do so. But I'd like you to just work together with the tiny little Lego pieces you have and do your best to create a heart. It's not going to work. It's not going to look like a heart. But if you can combine your pieces and make a little heart out of your colors, we will wrap up our activity. Now, while you are sculpting your hearts out of Lego, I'm going to ask one of our younger volunteers to come around and collect your recordings. So what you've written, I'm going to ask Noah in the red sweatshirt here to come to each group. Please give him your notes from this for us to collect. Thank you. Up here for display and grab a seat. We'll reconfigure our seats and get back to our schedule.
Hey, I love it. I love it. That's right. Yeah, that's right. Yes. Great to meet all of you. Yeah. Sam. Great to meet you.
So if there's any more sculpted hearts from Lego, we'll have them right up here in the front. No, I knew it. It's okay.
John. Nice to meet
Right down here, Robert.
Oh my gosh.
this is truly time for all ages and we really want to involve parents, we would leave Lego on the floor and ask you to walk all over them. Bare feet. Okay. So a broken heart is just fine. So thank you everybody for participating. This is just the first part in a little bit of a project for UC where we're kind of mapping our community, and I'll be guiding us through some small activities over the next few weeks. So your feedback here will be turned into conceptual art maps, which we will then add to in an artistic way. So we have future creations coming up down the road. And I'll be excited to share this feedback. We had wonderful feedback about everything from our banners to our acoustics to the coffee that we serve. We have a number of things that I personally am in love with in this church. Now, do I have perhaps 2 volunteers who can help with sharing our abundance? That is the next part in our service. Thank you, Andrew. So, the Unitarian Church of Edmonton is a liberal religious community. We're self-financed and congregationally directed. And as I mentioned before, we're a member of CUC. And together with other churches, we believe that generosity is one of the spiritual values. We recognize it as central to our personal and institutional well-being. For the month of January, we're sharing our abundance with Change for Children. So if you're online, please visit changeforchildren.org. This is a wonderful organization that I've had personal experiences with. When you donate to them, it really means a direct support for education, clean water, and food security projects that really promote human dignity and healthy communities. So this is a direct way for us to have a positive impact on the lives of congregants and larger communities. E-transfers are also gratefully accepted with information on how to do so on our website, and we really thank you for your generosity and for your support. Because with our time, our talents, and our money, we support the work of the community and this important Unitarian Universalist tradition. Beautiful. And as our volunteers are collecting your kind donations, I just want to point out some of the other volunteers that we have throughout our services. There's a lot that goes on behind the scenes. And so we have in-person volunteers. We have Claire, who's doing coffee. We have Mike, who is the greeter. We have myself and Reverend Rosemary and Karen Mills. But we also have people behind the scenes. We have John and Declan and Ruth up ahead in tech. And online, we have Doug, who did slides, Jeff, who's a greeter, and Lynn, who is recording. And a thank you to Bernard and Noah for stepping in as well. So as you come forward, we'll take your offering and sing together, "From You I Receive." So this is the time when the service leader does a reflection on the theme, and I hope you're all feeling the love today. And I don't mean the kind of love that makes you want to just hold someone's hand or smooch them on the cheek. I mean the kind of love that we as Unitarian Universalists affirm and promote in our principles. The kind of love we're talking about today is the kind that respects, seeks, celebrates, encourages, works for, and honors every aspect of the interdependent web of our existence. That's the kind of love I think we're talking about today. And if you're wondering what love has to do with all of this, well, you're not alone. Tina Turner, one of the greatest singers and artists of our time, asked the same question in her famous song from 1984, so 40 years ago. In this song, she expressed a pretty cynical view of love as a secondhand emotion, kind of irrelevant and unnecessary for a physical relationship. And she sang that, what do you need a heart for when a heart can be broken? And that love is just a sweet, old-fashioned notion. But you know what? She was wrong. Love isn't a second-hand emotion. It's a first-hand experience. Tina Turner had good reason to be skeptical about love. She'd suffered a lot of pain and abuse in her life, especially from her former husband and manager, Ike Turner, who controlled and exploited her for years. Not all of us know that part of her story. She had to fight hard to escape from him and to rebuild her career and her identity as a solo artist, as a Black woman. She had to learn to love herself again and to trust her own power and her own potential. And Tina Turner didn't give up on love. She found a new way of understanding and practicing love through her Buddhist faith. Now, we might not all realize that she was a very strong Buddhist. She became a follower of Nichiren Buddhism in 1974, so that's from Japan. And since then, up until her death in 2023, so for about 50 years, she chanted the mantra, Nam Myoho Renge Kyo. Nam Myoho Renge Kyo, every day. Every day she sang this repeatedly. And it means glory to the Dharma of the Lotus Sutra. And she really credited her Buddhist practice for helping her overcome her challenges and achieve her goals. She said that Buddhism taught her to respect and value herself and others, to be compassionate, kind, and forgiving. It also taught her to share her gifts and talents with the world and serve a greater purpose. So Tina Turner's Buddhist practice is actually very compatible with our Unitarian Universalist principles. She really is an example of the kind of love that we can aspire to live by, a love that's not just about feelings, but about actions. So, fellow Unitarians, I think we're more than a Unitarian Universalist church. We're part of a larger web of life that calls us to love and serve one another. And a church isn't just a building. A church can be a movement of love that seeks to transform our world. So, I don't want us to really question the relevance of love, but the responsibility of love. And I don't want us to limit the potential of love, but look at the possibilities of it. Because love isn't just a trivial feeling, but a vital force that connects us to our true selves and to each other. And so, what's love got to do with it? I think everything. We'll continue our theme with the hymn of the month, There Is a Love. I'll call upon somebody who I respect and love so very much, Reverend Rosemary Morrison.
What was my name again? Thank you, Oksana. That was awesome. Wasn't that awesome? Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. It's a joy and a pleasure to work with you again. If, in case you were wondering, and you were like, I've never heard that song before, There Is a Love in My Heart. Well, it's for good reason. It's a world premiere. Thank you, Gordon, for writing this beautiful song for us and for our hymn of the month. Thank you. So we've come to that time in the service where we're going to take a little bit of a time of reflection and quietude and quiet our hearts and minds and reflect on the things that may be important to us as people of human beings on this planet and people of faith in this congregation and family members and all of those good things. So one of the things that we do as Unitarian Universalists, we light candles of joy and concern. And what we do is we believe that if we kind of light a candle or share the joy, it's multiplied. And if we have a concern and we light a candle, those concerns are shared amongst all of us. And so our load is lessened. So we're at the time in the service where I invite you to take a taper, and the candle stations are on both sides. They're open for you to take a taper, and then you can light your taper and light a tea light and then douse it in the water and then put your spent taper in the basket. Most of us are now well used to this. We started doing it this way during COVID, or as we came out of COVID. So if you are new with us this morning, I invite you to not be first, because it might be just a little bit confusing. So follow along, and I invite you now. The tables are open. Robbie Burns Day, that's what's going on. Oksana to light a last candle for us, for all those joys and concerns we hold in our heart, perhaps not even understood yet, perhaps waiting to come to fruition. And also, actually one more candle, Oksana, please, for the Royer family. The funeral service, the memorial service was yesterday, and I'd like for us to hold the Royer family in our hearts and minds. Thank you. Going to enter into a time of meditation. And if I could ask you, I'm going to center you, and then I'm going to ask Oksana to ring the chimes, the singing bowls. We're going to have a few moments of silence. We'll ring the bowls again, and then we will listen to Tina Turner chanting her Buddhist chant. And that will take about 3 minutes. So we can just let it wash over you, relax, and enjoy. So to begin, I invite you to take a couple of deep and long cleansing breaths. In and out. Let your shoulders migrate away from your ears. Allow your belly to drop. If you'd like to place your hands on your belly, breathe into your hands. Always by invitation, never by demand. I invite you to rest into whatever it is that is holding your body, be it the chair, if you're at home, the floor, your bed, your lazy boy recliner. What is it that is holding you? Release your body and let gravity take it. Let you feel the pull. Let those muscles go. Perhaps pay attention to the muscles in your face. Move your face around, your jaw around. We hold so much stress just in our face. And now I'm going to ask Oksana to ring the chimes, the bells, the bowls, in whatever configuration you like for a moment, and then we will enter into silence. I love that. Thank you. What's love got to do with it? On March 18th, 1958, the French-American mystic Thomas Merton was running errands in downtown Louisville when he had an experience that would change his life and influence many others. The spot is marked with a historical marker, perhaps the only one in North America that marks a mystical experience by a settler, anyway. Merton described it this way in his book, Conjectures of a Guilty Bystander. In Louisville, at the corner of 4th and Walnut, in the center of the shopping district, I was suddenly overwhelmed with the realization that I loved all these people and that they were mine and I theirs, that we could not be alien to one another even though we were total strangers. It was like waking from a dream of separateness, of spurious self-isolation in a special world, the world of reunification and supposed holiness. This sense of liberation from an illusory difference was such a relief and such a joy to me that I almost laughed out loud. I have the immense joy of being human, a member of the human race. as if the sorrows and stupidities of the human condition could overwhelm me. Now I realize what we are. If only everybody could realize this, but it cannot be explained. There is no way of telling people that they are walking around shining like the sun. And then it was as if I saw the secret beauty of their hearts, the depths of their hearts, where neither sin nor desire nor self-knowledge can reach, the core of their reality, the person that one really is. As if only they could see themselves as they really are. If only we could see each other that way all the time. There would be no more war, no more hatred, no more cruelty, no more greed. But this cannot be seen, only believed and understood by a particular gift. End of quote. The description of this service goes something like this. Have you heard the quote? If I asked you to name all the things you love, how long would it take you to name yourself? In this service, we will explore how loving ourselves and paying attention to our own well-being is not just important, it's imperative. I was chatting yesterday with a couple of folks after Don Royer's memorial service, and we ended up talking about this service coming up, and I asked them the question, the one I just asked about where you'd put yourself on the list. And the first person responded that they would be pretty far down the list, if they made it at all, top 20. And the second person said they would name themselves right off the bat. I was pretty impressed by this. Then we talked a little about the quote and loving our neighbors as ourselves, blah-de-de-blah, and and if we don't actually love ourselves, we can't love our neighbors. We kind of forget that part often, don't we? We kind of don't remember that we have to love ourselves before we can love our neighbors. So I wonder if this is kind of what's wrong with society at large. There's nothing really, like, in a kind of a global perspective. If we loved ourselves more, then we would be called to love our neighbors even more. If that was so, we wouldn't allow homelessness, dispossession, genocide, all those things that Merton laid out for us. How did he put it? There would be no more war, no more hatred, no more cruelty, no more greed. But this cannot be seen, only believed and understood by a particular gift. And what is that gift? So that's kind of the sermon in a nutshell. If we loved ourselves tremendously, and in turn loved our neighbors as ourselves, or all of everyone else, we no longer would need prisons and halfway houses and social service agencies and food banks and tent cities and on, because we would all be on the same team. And we would be noticing that we are all running around shining like the sun. And how could we let someone that's running around shining like the sun live in a tent in the middle of winter? How could nation fight against nation, person cast down another person, if all we could see was ourselves reflected beautifully in everyone else? In her book, The Mirror of Simple Souls, Marguerite Poré dared to suggest that love was such a lofty ideal that it can transcend all reason and bring us into unity with the divine. She was writing in medieval times, and as such, everything was tied to divinity through God. There was no division at that time between church and state. In fact, the church ruled everyone's life. She was burned at the stake for her heretical ideas that we could be that immersed in love. She was killed in 1310. Poret used images to help others understand what she was trying to say. That if we are governed by love, then we are moving in a state of perpetual joy and peace. She got into trouble because she talked about how we can achieve this state in this life, that we don't have to wait until the next life to be full of virtue and therefore incapable of evil. But the church at that time would have everyone believe that that wasn't the case. She was also in trouble because she refused to translate her script into Latin. I would translate that as being incapable of separateness from one another, as I believe that it is that feeling of being separate and apart that causes suffering, depression, and injustice. She refused to recant her theology, and as I said, she refused to translate her book into Latin, and therefore was found guilty of heresy. In my class during seminary, studying the women mystics through the centuries, when we came to study Marguerite, we were given a small mirror and a small swatch of tulle, kind of a lacy material. The professor put on some medieval meditative music and asked us to look in the mirror and into our own face and our own eyes. She asked us to open ourselves up to the idea that perhaps the image looking back at us was divine. Those were a few scary moments, I just want you to know. I was like, what? I can't do that. It was very hard, actually. If the concept of divinity is difficult for you, as it kind of is for me a little bit, I suggest you to think about it as looking long enough into the mirror that we can see our true selves. That part of us does nothing but shine like the sun. That part of us that Merton could see on the corner of 4th and Walnut in Louisville, Kentucky in 1958. That part of us that is only love. That liberates us from all the things that isn't love. I have always been interested in mysticism, magic, things that we can't see but sometimes feel. For example, I've lived in 3 haunted houses. I've got lots and lots of interesting stories. Interesting and maybe true stories to tell you about that, if you ask me. I've been told that there's no such thing as ghosts. However, I would beg to differ. I've got no clue where they are or where they came from, and I'm even open to the possibility that it was I that manifested them. Not sure I would do that when I've sometimes found the experience very unwelcome and extremely unpleasant. When I did my UU history course, I did my final paper on that interesting time in the Unitarianism when transcendentalism was prevalent. People spoke to the dead through seances. There was constant supernatural experiences and occurrences, and this was commonplace. So can you guess what my favorite source, my favorite UU source that I prescribe to? Anybody can guess? That first one. The direct experience of that transcending mystery and wonder, affirmed in all cultures across all time, which moves us to a renewal of the spirit and an openness to the forces that create and uphold life. I want to have that experience, just me and you together. It was that transcending mystery and wonder that Merton succumbed to on the corner of 4th and Walnut. The image he had was that we were all and only beauty, light, and love. That is our core, our true being, and it is through circumstances, pain, struggle, unfairness, deprivation, and unkindness that our shininess can get tarnished. that we aren't able to see how truly beautiful we are. That was also Marguerite's point, that there is more to us than we can experience with our five senses. There is something else, and I don't know exactly what it is, and as a true agnostic, I don't think anyone can really know exactly what that is about. However, the love that we can feel for ourselves can liberate us from insecurity, fear, distrust, and the desire for power. I wonder what would happen if we decided that we actually did shine like the sun. That there was something that we could call a divine spark in all of us. Would we then feel liberated enough to try the new thing? Ask for the raise? Have the courage to say, I love you first? Wear your nice new clothes on just a regular old Wednesday and eat off our good dishes. Yesterday we said goodbye to Don Royer, a very long-time member and friend of this congregation. He and Elaine have lived in St. Albert for a long time. I had the privilege to get to know in family a little bit over the last couple of weeks organizing the service and reception. Quietly and with integrity, Don Royer led with love, fully loving those around him and treating everyone with kindness. Pretty hard to imagine what things would be like if we all did this, isn't it? Pretty amazing. Don's way of loving himself was to pursue interests, seek out beauty, build relationships, and love deeply. As I said yesterday, his was a life well lived, an examined life. And by the way, his service will be on YouTube within the week on our YouTube channel. So let's tie all this up, shall we? Kind of gone all around. Liberating love, loving ourselves, knowing we are shining like the sun, seeing ourselves as part of that great mystery, putting ourselves first sometimes, living with integrity. That's what I've been talking about. But why is it so darn important to love ourselves anyway? Well, I've touched on it briefly. If we don't love ourselves, we can't love our neighbors and the world, and all that's in it is our neighbor. The more love we have for ourselves, the better care we take of ourselves, the better able we are to care for others. It doesn't mean we think like we're not humble, because humble doesn't mean thinking less of ourselves. It means thinking of ourselves a little less, but we still can think greatly of ourselves. There is something we haven't touched on yet, perhaps. If we don't love ourselves, care for ourselves, look after our physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual health, we are not able to share our gifts. If we are not looking into ourselves, knowing ourselves, we might not even know we have gifts to share with others. We may not realize that developing skills and understanding how you can bless the world will make the world a better place. What are our assets and how do we share them if we are so sure that we are not worthy or not good enough or not very good at things? The opposite is true. We need one another to shine like the sun so that we can jump on that bandwagon and shine like the sun too. Not understanding our potential or the potential of this congregation will cause us to play small, as Marianne Williamson says, and that will not benefit anyone. What if we realized that separateness was an illusion, and that what we do to ourselves, we do to the whole? As well, what we do to others, we do to ourselves. I think that is even perhaps more important when we think of the illusion of separateness. If we are unkind to others, if we speak disparaging about others, if we complain or criticize or gossip about others, we're actually doing damage to ourselves. For separateness is only an illusion. Love is what liberates us, and everything we do affects everyone else and everything else. May we all strive to go around shining like the sun. May we remember that everything we say and do always sends out ripples that make their way back to us, just like in a pond. And may we understand that a liberating love is what will free us up to love ourselves as we do our neighbors. So may it be, and amen. I invite you to rise in body or in spirit and sing our closing hymn, When Our Heart is in a Holy Place. One of my favorite hymns, and written by my friend Joyce Poley.
I wondered today whether we would be able to tie in all of these different ideas that we have, ranging from Buddhism and Tina Turner's spiritual development, to talking about our building, to talking about our heart. And I feel like our last song just kind of cements it, right? When our heart is in a holy place, really kind of ties together what I've been trying to project as a service leader today. And I'd like to just take a minute to invite people who may be looking at this recording in the future on YouTube to write down any comments they might have about our building, about our space, or about our theme of our heart being in a holy place. As we wrap up, I'd like to invite Bernard to come up to help us extinguish the flame that has been burning through our service. And I have a reading by Rebecca Ann Parker called Even When Our Hearts Are Broken. Even when our hearts are broken by our own failure, or the failure of others cutting into our lives, even when we have done all we can and life is still broken, there is a universal love that has never broken faith with us and never will.
Thank you. I would like to thank everyone that participated in this service. Yes? Yes. Yes. There we are. I can hear me. Can't you hear me? Yeah. Now we can. Yeah. Okay, I'll say that again. I would like to thank everyone that participated in this service. Greeters, Rosemary and Mike and all the things. Oksana, Karen, the people up there. There's so many people that are involved in putting on a service like this. So many. Thank you, Bernard, for being here and helping set up. And I'm wondering, I'm going to kind of do something I don't always do or probably never do. I'm going to ask Alec, Carol, and Chantal to meet with me briefly after the service. Thank you. Appreciate that. And so now I offer you these words of benediction. Do not be dismayed by the brokenness of the world. Things break, and things can be mended sometimes, but not with time, as they say, but with intention. So I invite you to go out into the world and love intentionally, and love extravagantly, and love unconditionally. And would you please go on out there and shine like the sun? Because I can see a sun right over your head. Anybody ever played Sims? Think of yourselves like that. Okay, go in peace. Gentle people, go in peace. And now let us sing our linking song, Carry the Flame, and then after that, it is a dance party.
Carry the flame of peace and love.